Where are all the white people at? That was crazy. These are white people as a share of the overall state's population. Damn, Wyoming is white. While we're over here, so is Idaho. My home state of California is lower on the list, but you know what? 70%? Damn, there's a lot of us over here too. And this isn't even higher on, that's crazy. So don't let these like color intensities fool you. There's a lot of white folks all around the US still. With a couple notable outliers, one being Mississippi, another being Georgia. They're just barely over the 50% mark. Also, Maryland. Man, when I went to Maryland for the first time, that was crazy. Baltimore felt like a city that was literally just 50% white and 50% black and nothing else in between, which coming from California, that was really surprising. Baltimore is just a reflection of how the southern states typically are, but in terms of Los Angeles, we got a little bit of everybody. But like I said, you could see how that would reflect a lot of the deep south. Louisiana's at 62%, my birth state of Alabama at 69%. Now, interestingly, Florida is kind of the outlier. You know, a lot of Florida isn't necessarily considered the deep south. You know, I'm looking at Miami. Florida's definitely going to have a lot higher Hispanic population. I'm pretty sure this 76% is really held up high just because of all the people that go down here to retire. The whitest states in the US, though, even whiter than Wyoming and Idaho, West Virginia, Vermont, and then Maine. New Hampshire also very high up there. I gotta be real, I am so not used to states like these. I literally just said born in Alabama, grew up in California. I'm used to being surrounded by a very diverse community. This is hella white people right here. It's funny because I can literally visualize exactly why some of these states maybe aren't as white as others. There's a large African-American population in the south, like I said, and then every state that borders Mexico, well, you can imagine there's a lot of Latinos. I'll be honest, I didn't think Texas was at 76%. I thought they'd be even lower. Texas is lower than New Mexico and Arizona, but I thought they'd be closer to 70 like California. Now, the Northeast is going to be in a completely different situation. They've got a lot of things going on. I mean, it's New York City, also New Jersey. I mean, there's people from all over the world here. Something to keep in mind for these wider states, these are not states with typically high population. They might all be in the bottom 25 than in the top 25 in terms of people. You know what? In fact, they're barely able to make it out of the 40s. The top population state is Idaho. I didn't realize New Hampshire and Maine had less population than Idaho.